Ty Brady here with Brady Insurance Marketing and the Ty Brady Way. As a successful entrepreneur myself, I'm passionate in helping other entrepreneurs do the same as they rise from rags to riches and get inspired each week on the stories they tell here at the Ty Brady Way. Today, I have another exciting guest on the show today. We're doing it remote. Usually, I like to do things in person, but here I have Simon Severino on the show today. I'm excited to have him tell his story on what he does and how he does it and why he does what he does. So, Simon, let's tell our audience a little about what you do and how you got here.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's 21 years that I do only one thing. I help people enter markets, win in the market, and stay in the market. I'm a sales and marketing coach. And over the last 21 years, it has changed in terms of it became more digital, but some things really stayed the same. How can I express my message in an authentic way? And how can I get the right people onto my calendar? And how can I close deals with them? That's what I do.
So you say the landscape has changed, right?
It's changing constantly. Some things are changing as we speak.
So I always talk to people saying, hey, talk where your feet are. And you need to have that 30-second elevator speech because you're going to lose somebody quicker and faster in that first, 30 seconds. So two things I want to focus on here. When you say it's changing, what do you mean about the as coaching and digital? What do you mean it's changing and how?
So over the last 20 years, it became digital. So people are selling now via Zoom and Teams and in a remote way. Specifically, this last couple months, the sales recordings that we get a dozen sales recordings a day from our clients, and we give them feedback on how they can improve the sales call. And what we're seeing right now is there is buyers who are much more cautious, and they are delaying buys that were at 95% closing, and they're saying, can we push this by 3 months? So there is a certain, the buyer is more cautious and is trying to delay bigger expenditures. We're talking deals of $20,000, $70,000, $100,000, $200,000. Those things are getting delayed and pushed back by a couple months. And the buyers are trying to not take too big, too risky investments. Right now, this is one thing that's changing. And the way we see it is that where it took our clients usually 2 calls to close a deal, it's taking them now 6, 7, 8 calls.
It's interesting you say that because I've seen the same trend in my industry. That it's taking, I think part of it is because people are scared. They feel like they're going to get scammed. Are they getting the best deal? Are they going to get their value that they're putting those dollars into? So how are you coaching your sales professionals through that?
We have an 8 steps method that we teach, and it's geared towards creating trust and helping the buyer take their best decision as opposed to pushing something onto them. And it's 8 steps. We can go into each of those, and we teach those 8 steps, and we practice those 8 steps over 3 months with them. And then we get the recordings and practice even more and give them feedback. And after 3 months, their win rate is much higher.
So that sales call that typically took, 6 calls or 7 calls, you're basically changing the sales process transaction so it's quicker based on your systems and strategies that are proven, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Right now, it still takes them 6 calls because the buyer is cautious on the other side. But of the same amount of calls, if they are having those 10 calls and they were closing 4 of those 10 in 6 calls, with our method, they can close 6 to 7 of those 10 calls in 3 months.
So you're dealing with some big ticket items. I mean, when my agents are out selling something, I mean, it's a few $100s. It isn't no $70,000 to $200,000. How did you even get in this space? 20 years of coaching, that's a long time. How did you get in that space?
I was in my beginning, I was an employee in a big strategy consulting firm. And so that's a turbo booster for learning. You get immediately into the boardrooms and into the very big questions, and you get a lot of work. So this is how I got my first kilometers going, or my first miles, depending on where you're listening. And I used that a lot. I was the strategy advisor of the big Fortune 500 companies, and sitting in those boards and having to solve problems with them and for them. So this is how I learned it. And then after a couple of years, I said, all right, I know my craft now. What if I can do this on my own? And I went on my own.
So you decide, after being in corporate America, dealing with some very high-end clients, Fortune 500 companies, you went out on your own. What did those first couple of years look like? I mean, how did you get in front of clients, your ideal consumer?
I started offering my first 2 mandates for free.
Wow.
In exchange for 2 client testimonials. I said, if I coach you for 3 months, would you be willing to give me a client testimonial of the results? And they're like, sure. So I did that with 2 of them. Then I had testimonials, and then I started calling the next ones. But I had something now, and there were some pretty good logos. So I could move from 2 to 4, from 4 to 8, etc. I started with only one region, that was Germany, and then expanded to Switzerland, Austria, and then I expanded to California, from California to Texas. So it was bit by bit by bit. I added then some people. I wrote a book. The book became a method and a certification. I started certifying people in the Strategy Sprints method. The book is now getting translated into Chinese. So there might be another wave coming. It's coming out this summer in Chinese. The book is called Strategy Sprints. So bit by bit over many years.
I love that principle. People will say, well, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time, right? And that's amazing. You offered your services and your expertise for those first 2 clients for free. I mean, in anything, it takes 2 things. It takes time or money, right? Time or money. So you spent time, your own time, not necessarily getting paid, or you spent the money, the expertise, learning from the experts so that then you could turn around and do something greater. Now, sometimes it's a combination of both. It's time and money, right? Especially as you're starting a business. You said 20 years. That's a long time. Most businesses fail in the first 5 years, right? So you've made it past 5 and so on. And now you're scaling, and now you're writing a book, and you're getting people to duplicate you. And that's amazing.
Bit by bit. Just don't give up. You will outperform all your competitors.
Have you heard of the 100-hour rule? I talk about this a lot when I coach youth sports is, if you spent 100 hours, which is 18 minutes a day at a certain discipline, whether it be violin, piano, throwing a ball, whatever it is, whatever discipline you're trying to achieve, you'll be 95% better than your competitor. Just 18 minutes a day. But it's interesting where people won't even take that time, right? I'm so busy. 18 minutes a day isn't that much. I guarantee you spend more time on your phone or more time doing other things than you could spend the time working on that discipline, perfecting your craft.
Absolutely.
So what is your ideal client when you're coaching them?
Ideal client is a business owner that sells in an online way. So they sell via Zoom, via Teams, a ticket that is above 10K per month. So they have a high ticket offer, and they're doing around $50,000 per month right now. They want to get to 100,000 per month in the next 90 days.
Wow. That's a big ask, but you're obviously coaching people on how to do that, right?
Yeah, we have the method that delivers that. But if they want to qualify for a sprint, this is what they need to bring to the table. So I don't do brick and mortar businesses, and I don't do businesses that have a low ticket, item below 10K.
Oh, that's great. So if we talked a little bit about the listeners. We have, stay-at-home moms, successful business owners, people that are starting a business, people that may want to start a business. What advice would you give to the listeners today based on your experience and what you do today?
I would say solve one problem for one group of people very well. And if I had to start new, I would grab literally the book Strategy Sprints and do exactly what's in there, because marketing chapter is really practical marketing step by step, how you do online marketing. The sales chapter is really how you craft your offer and increase your win rate. And then there is the client delivery chapter, the hiring chapters. They're very practical, like a cookbook. You can put them on your desk and every day put in 18 minutes and you will get quite far.
Isn't that amazing? It's like, you're like, hey, because I'm thinking of, like, I've had mortgage guys on the show. I've had real estate guys on the show. I've had attorneys. I've had doctors. I've had all people. And if those strategies they apply across all those different genres or different disciplines of careers, right? It's so simple. I mean, even if you're a doctor, you got to learn how to market, right? Especially if you have your own practice. If you're an attorney, you have a practice, you got to market, right? How do you get people in the door?
You have to get the attention of people. You have to make them interested. You have to engage them. You have to get them on your calendar, and you have to close them.
So I love the advices, that 18 minutes a day, read those books, apply those systems and strategies. Where do you see your business going in the next, 5-10 years?
We will add countries, because it's a franchise model. So we will add more countries every quarter. And my biggest goal is to have fun.
You say have fun. What does your fun day look like? I like to have fun too. If anybody knows me, for me, it's about family, faith, financial freedom, and free time. And they're all together. I want to work hard, play hard. But what does having your fun look like?
Absolutely. And so the fun thing is that if I wake up tomorrow and the sun is shining, I want to go swimming and biking. And if I wake up and the weather is terrible, I want to work on my business and on my investments. So it's really from moment to moment, going with the weather and with my mood and with my intuition in that moment. That's my ideal day. Whatever I feel to do, I just do that.
You do it. Well, you have that free time. When you say you want to add franchises, like, if my listeners are interested in doing that, what does that mean?
So the Strategy Sprints method is a method where you help people double revenue in 90 days. Now you can learn the method and you can run a business using the method, like become a franchisee. So let's say you have experience as a business coach. You have either built and scaled and sold businesses, or you were at a CEO level in a mid-sized or larger company. So you have run businesses and you now want to coach other entrepreneurs on how they grow and scale a business. Then you can go to strategysprints.com. You hop on our calendar and we can explore if you can learn the method and use the method in your country.
So they're an arm of you based on what you've proven over the last 20 years, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, they become the business coach of entrepreneurs, and I provide them with all the tools and processes and templates that they need to be successful.
Wow, that's amazing. You say you like to have fun. You've perfected your craft over the last 20 years. What kind of impact do you believe that's done and, over the last 20 years? Like, what's some examples of people you've helped, not necessarily their names, but what you've seen them been able to do based on your strategies?
So when people come to us, they have two kinds of problems. Either they feel that they don't have enough time. They're underwater. I have no time and I need more time. So if that is the problem, we have them organize their business better, simplify it, just do the core activities that really move the needle forward. We give them some templates and tools on how to do that. And so after 3 months, their business runs less dependent on them, so that now they have more time to work on the business and don't have to work so much in the business. That's one case. The other case is they are well organized, but for some reason there is a sales slump. There is a month that's not going well, or pipeline is not absolutely filled, it's kind of drying up, or the sales numbers are not going up. They are maybe even slightly going down, and they want to accelerate sales. So fill the pipeline more, increase the win rate. That's the second case when they call us and say, Simon, can you coach my people on how to fill the pipeline and how to close more deals? Then that's the focus of the sprint.
So that reminds me of something I've learned over the years is you can be proactive or you can be reactive. And sometimes as business owners, all we're doing is we're reacting to the problems and fixing problems throughout the day. And we never spend time being proactive, meaning those systems and strategies, those funnels, how can I get my win rate from 70% to 90%? Because you're still generating the same amount of dollars to get that lead or that phone to ring, or even to get people on a call. But yet, how can I turn that results better? And being, think through that methodically and be like, how can I be proactive instead of reactive? Why does it have to be crisis mode all the time, right? The second thing is I look at, in general, sometimes business owners have a hard time giving up the reins, meaning hire a professional, get a mentor, do those things that are going to help you be a better human being when you show up to work, right? And if you're at the top of your game, that's going to trickle down if you have employees or your salespeople or whoever in the process. But you've got to spend that time being proactive and not just reactive, crisis mode. So people come to you and like, I'm in crisis, I'm having a bad quarter. Help me fix it, right? They come to you. And what do you tell them?
First thing that we do is the so-called bottleneck analysis. So where is the weakest point right now in your sales system? So that if we fix that, the general throughput through the system will be higher. For example, you can start in the marketing part, or you can start in the part where marketing hands over to sales, which is the appointment, or you can start in the sales part, which is either closing the deal or handing over to client delivery. Now, one of these 5 points is the current bottleneck. So first, we find the bottleneck and we solve that first. It takes 1 or 2 weeks. And then the rest of the 10 weeks of the sprint, because it's 12 weeks in total, whenever you optimize one part, the next part will be the weakest link.
Yeah.
So the next, optimize one after the other for 12 weeks.
So you basically, like for me, when I bring a new agent on board, I like to sit down with them and say, what's the game plan? What are you willing to do? How many hours can you devote to this? And I commit them to doing that specific item. So if it's getting on the phone, let's get past that fear. Okay, after you get on the phone, how do we overcome the objections you're going to face, right? It's just that step by step. I like that analogy, the bottleneck. Where's the bottleneck? Where am I getting pinched? How can I open it up to get this water flowing, right? How can I get this to move quicker and faster? But as that water starts flowing, you create bigger problems downstream, right? So you got to keep solving those until you got an even flow.
There is always one part in your system that's the weakest part.
Yep.
And the danger is that you do everything a little bit, like, okay, let's do more LinkedIn and let's improve our script and let's hire more people. Now you are solving 3 things at once. It will burn you out and you will not have great results. Instead, we say, okay, of those 3 things, which one has the biggest impact if we solve it this week? And in that given week, we will solve only that one. And when that is solved, we move to the next.
I refer to that in my industry as become laser focused. If it's selling a specific product, you get really good at it. You get really good at selling dental, vision, and hearing, and then go on to the next one. Until you've solved that problem, then go on to the next one, because you can only be good at one thing at one time and be efficient at it. I love that principle. Solve the one thing and then we move on. Simon, go ahead.
Yeah, and people can use our tools. Many of our tools are open source on our website. It's strategysprints.com. And when they click tools, they can download many of them for free. If they want to go even deeper, they can grab the book. It's on Amazon. It's called Strategy Sprints. And for most, they will get going already and solve a ton of sales problems already by doing just that.
Well, we're running out of time here, and I always hate to bring these shows to the end, but any last thoughts you'd like to leave with the audience, Simon, and then how they may get a hold of you, and we'll wrap this thing up.
Just keep rolling, everyone. Don't give up. You got this. Even when it feels hard, you got this. And just stay in the game long enough so that your competitors give up before you. And if you want to grab a hold of us, we are at strategysprints.com.
I love it. Outwork your competitor, right? You could be the most talented person in the room, but the one that never gives up and works the hardest always wins. It's awesome. It's a characteristic not everybody has, right? They give up right before they see that success.
Yes. And it's in your control. You can decide to endure.
Simon, thank you so much for your time today. I know you're a busy man like a lot of us, but we want to make a bigger impact with the people that we can get in front of. So for those of you listening, reach out to Simon if you have a bottleneck in your marketing or sales process. Let's get it fixed so that you can make more money and make a bigger impact in the world. And as always, share, like, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Ty Brady Way. As always, share, like, and subscribe. Go to Instagram at ty.r.brady. And as always, love hearing from you. And let me know what you want to learn on the show or what you'd like me to bring up on the show. Thanks.
You can find the Ty Brady Way on Instagram as well as Facebook. To stay connected with giveaways and Ty himself, go ahead and follow at ty.r.brady on Instagram as well as Facebook. This podcast was recorded, edited, and produced by Whitney Faith Media Marketing. And the theme music is an excerpt from Hot Chicken of the Woods by Isaac Joel.